Greeting podcast enthusiasts, welcome to the Head Guy Podcast, the show that unravels the minds shaping our future. I'm your host, Stefan Lindberg-Jones, and today we have an extraordinary guest with roots in innovation from the heart of the Middle East. Hailing from the vibrant landscape of Qatar, our special guest is Mutasem Alnajjar, who is a visionary entrepreneur making waves in the realms of AI-powered education. Together, we'll embark on a journey exploring Mutasem's personal stories, his entrepreneurial endeavors, and the groundbreaking project that will impact not only Qatar, but also across the entire Middle East. So whether you're tuning in from the bustling streets of Doha or anywhere across the region, join us for a conversation that transcends borders, dives deep into the intersection of technology and education. This is the Head Guy Podcast, connecting you with the innovations shaping the future, right here in the heart of Qatar and the Middle East. Stay tuned for a conversation that promises to inspire and ignite your curiosity. Let's dive in. So thank you, Mo, for coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
I can't stop. I was going to just start off with the usual, how are you? How do we find you today, personally and professionally? But then your socks kind of stood out for me. So let's start off with your socks, because the first episode's already just gone out. And my guest, Daniel, is all about loud socks. He loves loud socks.
So the thing is, I was going to wear normal black socks today.
Okay.
Then I read the LinkedIn post, and then I was I guess me and Daniel have that in common. We both like loud socks.
Absolutely. What are they? Are they football?
No, these are donuts.
Donuts?
Yeah.
Did you buy them, or was that a gift?
I think these were a gift from my sister. I started buying loud socks, and then my sister started buying them. And then I gave a couple out to my grandma, and then she loves them. So every time I go back to visit her, she asks, "Did you get me any new socks?"
Oh, really? Yes. Yeah, grandma's into quite loud socks as well.
She is. I wouldn't say she's into loud socks. She just likes the visuals on them. You know?
Okay.
She wears them in the house. She doesn't wear them out.
Yeah.
She just likes the prints on them.
And I'm just curious. You said your sister. Now I know that you've got two sisters.
Yes.
Was it your younger sister?
Yes, my younger sister.
The cheeky one.
Yes.
So what's donuts? Is there something about you and donuts?
Not in particular, but I do love donuts.
Okay.
I do love a good sugary donut. It gives me a good sugar rush, and then it gives a good sugar crush, especially if you're trying to sleep at night.
That's what I find is that as I've got older, I know you're not even anywhere near me yet. You're even half my age, but as you get older, whether it's an intolerance to sugar, you just become much more aware of the effects of sugar. And I try to limit the amount of sugar that I have.
I think as kids growing up, you're always hyperactive, so you don't really notice how sugar affects how hyperactive you are, because your baseline is kind of heightened when it comes to activity. But then growing up, yes, you do notice the sugar rush, but then after a while you notice the sugar crash as well.
Yeah, it's the crash that I don't like. It's the rush is okay, but it's the crash that
The one thing I try to do when it comes to sugar sweets is that I try to take them in, when I need a sugar rush, I take them in small quantities in intervals so that the sugar rush is extended for the duration of the time that I need to be focused on.
So does it give you more focus? Do you notice that?
I think yes. I don't know if it actually does give it, or if it's just something psychological. Because I believe it does give me.
Yeah.
But I tend to have more energy to work, and then thus allowing me to focus a little bit better when it comes to work. That's it. I don't have anything in particular with donuts. I love all kinds of sweets.
Your sister can write in, by the way, and let me know if it's true or not. If you're not particular on donuts.
My credit history would prove that we do like sweets in our family. We tend to order a lot of cookies.
Yeah.
donuts, and then Middle Eastern sweets like nafa.
Yeah.
We generally have like a big plate of Middle Eastern sweets out in the living room. Yesterday I had 2 pieces of baklava for breakfast.
Well, okay.
They're big ones.
Yeah.
That's why I didn't go over to. Actually, I'm waiting to go back home to eat another one. They're kind of tasty.
Okay, let's get off the sweets and let's get off the sugary stuff. So, how do we find you today?
I think good.
Oh, you think?
Yes, I think I'm good. I'm good in a way that I've been getting more work done, getting closer to the milestones that I've put for myself, which is why I think, good.
I'm just curious, how do you set your milestones when you're looking ahead? How do you help the future move in setting those milestones?
You went in way too deep, way too fast.
No, well, yeah, absolutely. Well, you started me off, so why not? No, because I know that we struggle. I know a lot of people struggle in looking after their future self. And when you said milestones, it was, I did a small piece on Instagram this morning about hitting your goals and looking after your future self. And so when you said milestones, it's just like, yes, you're looking after your future self, but how do you make sure that you look after your future self and those milestones?
So for my milestones, I don't think I have anything set in stone regarding a timeline. It's just things that I would love to achieve.
So does that give you a bit more flexibility?
It does give me a little bit more flexibility, and it also makes me more prone to actually achieving them, because once you set a date to something, and if you start getting near the date and you're nowhere near finish, it makes you lack off. You're like, it's not gonna happen, so might as well just drop it from now and move on to something new.
Yeah.
So it gives you some leeway when it comes to achieving your milestones and what you intend on doing. So regarding milestones, I believe that we exist in 3 planes of existence. So there's physical, spiritual, and mental.
Oh, look who's going deeper now.
I mean, I think we're just going to keep spiraling down.
Okay, all right, tell me.
So physical is with your health. You take care of your health. Milestone-wise, I would like to be in better shape within a year or 2. That's physically. Spiritually, that's regarding how you feel when it comes to the whole aspect of spiritualities, Mental is your mental health. And one thing that milestones, it affects our mental health because it puts too much pressure on us mentally that we have to achieve something. Sometimes it isn't feasible. You can't achieve it with the time frame that you've put. But the thing is, the more experience you get, the better you're able to set your milestones. I think you have really good experience in setting your milestones. You have a lot more experience in that part than I do. So this is why I don't really set my milestones in dates. I give them like a timeline, a frame, a span of time, like within 1 to 2 years. Within a year, I would like to be this. Within a year, I would like to achieve this. One thing that I've put for myself is I would love to be in the Forbes 30 under 30. So that does have a timeline.
That has a timeline. Because you're 24?
Yes.
So you got 6 years.
Yes.
Well,
hopefully
6 years.
Less than 6 years. But if not, we can always make it in the Forbes 40 under 40 and then the 50 under.
Oh, right. Yeah, that's true. Okay.
So there is still some kind of leeway in that. So that's about milestones. Professionally,
Sorry to stop you. So if you could paint that picture of you being in the Forbes under 30, what would the article say?
Honestly, I have no idea. But I would like it to be something good.
Yeah. No, I only asked because you mentioned that you would like that would be your achievement. I just thought if you had a picture already in your head that...
Hopefully it would be with the startup that we're working on right now to transform education.
Yeah. So
hopefully...
Give us an idea.
Yeah. So what we're trying to do is make education more personalized, more effective in teaching. What we're trying to do is create something that's sort of an assistant to the teacher. We're not trying to eradicate teachers. We still need them. But it's more like a tool that teachers can use in order to better understand their students and how they learn. So there are 4 types of learning styles to students. There is visual, auditory, kinesthetic, and I think the 4th one is writing. So as a teacher, you have in each class, you have at least 20 to 25 students, and you can't cater to each and every one of them. So you have a lesson that you have to teach, and you teach it in the way that you know how to teach it. Statistically, only 25% of students will truly understand the core concept of each lesson, depending on how the teacher conveys it. So what we're trying to do is move that 25% up to 100% when it comes to teaching. It's going to be interactive, so it's going to be an avatar that talks to the student to give it a more humanoid feeling. It also builds that kind of chemistry between the student and the avatar, that there's a face to the voice. It's someone I know. It's someone I'm comfortable with. It's someone I understand. So it kind of builds something like chemistry between the student and the avatar. Because growing up, most of the subjects that we hated as students were because of the teacher rather than because of the actual material, the subject.
Absolutely. Look, you've given me so much material, and I don't know when to stop you, because
You can stop me at any minute.
well, can we go back? Okay, there's 4 styles of learning
Yes.
you mentioned. So one's visual, one's auditory, one's what?
Kinesthetic.
What's kinesthetic? Is that where you do?
Where you do things, yes.
Okay, so that's being shown what to do, and then the actual student does
Yes.
copies.
So like when you do a project, for example, in biology, when you have an animal that you dissect in order to understand biology, the anatomy of a bird, for example.
So you would literally visually be learning while...
And you use your hands in order to understand. So, for example, if you're taking a lesson in biology, you dissect a bird, and then you look at the heart, you feel it, you touch it. So it includes more of the physical touch.
Nice. And the last one is
Writing, yes.
How would a teacher know which one a student is? How does the whole process start with your program, AI?
So it starts with a list of questions that the student answers. Now, I don't have a background in education and assessment.
Okay.
However, my mother does, and there's another stakeholder that we're reaching out to. She promised to give us the assessment, how they assess students, all the data, all the questions, and how different answers reflect different meanings, the benchmarks, the metrics.
Okay.
So basically all the data when it comes to assessment. So after a student answers the, let's say, assessment exam, it's registered. For example, student A learns using visual and auditory.
Oh, so it can be a mixture. It
Can be a mixture, yes.
Okay.
But generally it is a mixture, but some students learn in a specifically one way.
Yeah.
So all this data gets analyzed from the assessment exam, and then preferred learning style is assigned to each student, right? And then throughout the lessons, the avatar explains the lesson in the preferred style for the student.
What, during the lesson or after the lesson? How? So the teacher's giving the lesson.
Yes.
Is the avatar there as well? Or?
No, it's afterwards.
Oh, it's afterwards.
It's kind of like you use it at home kind of thing.
So is it like a kind of revision? So
Yes.
does the avatar sum the lesson up, or does the student have to sit for another hour? So he's sat, or she is sat in a lesson for an hour listening to the teacher, and then going home, would they listen again to the avatar teaching in the way that they're familiar with for another hour?
I wouldn't say an hour. So But yeah, they have to go back and study it. Now, the thing is, one question that I was asked is, how are you going to force students to use it?
Well, that would be the big thing for me, because it's just like, oh, I've just spent an hour listening to a teacher try to explain it in her way, and now you're expecting me now to go to an avatar and listen to it in another way that I'm meant to be able to ingest.
So the thing is,
why don't we cut the middleman out? Not the middleman. Why don't we cut that person who only does it one way, when we can have an avatar that does it any way that suits us?
I don't think we can do that. You still need the human factor.
Not yet.
We're not there yet.
Okay.
So you can't force a student to do something.
Yeah.
So in a school, you have 25 students in a classroom.
If you're lucky. Yeah. Some are less, some are more.
Yeah. 10 of them are usually the high achievers in the class. They tend to study on their own without anyone telling them to do so.
Yeah.
For example, I'm not sure about the statistics. I'm just throwing out the numbers. So another 10% or 10 students, they would need someone to tell them or force them, go to your room, go study. Now that's the parents' job.
I'm just curious, what were you?
I think I was forced to go study, but it depended on the subject.
Yeah.
So for some subjects, I would study on my own. Maths, I was forced to study it by my mother because she's a maths teacher. So yeah, I think I was in the middle because I didn't study that much at uni. I would slack and keep things off until the midterms or finals.
Yeah, I'm just curious. Did you find when you were being taught by a teacher, it would go in and it would stay there? What kind of student were you in that regards? Because I was the type of student that literally, you would tell me something and it would just literally come in and then go out again. It wouldn't stay. It wouldn't.
Not everything would stay. Some things, if the teacher said something catchy or made a joke about something, then it would stick. But generally it doesn't. I have to go back and reread it, which is why I skipped so many lectures at uni, because attendance wasn't mandatory in some classes. So I just skipped them and studied at home for an exam, because I don't understand, or it just doesn't stick. I understand what they're saying or what they're talking about in that same moment.
Yeah.
But like 5 minutes later, that's it. It's gone.
I know. All right. Going on that, so you would study at home, and would you just be reading books, or would you go online and ingest? How did you do it?
So it would be a mixture of both. I would study the book to understand what is actually in our curriculum, and then I would look for similar things on YouTube or other platforms that provide courses. But on YouTube, the thing is, you find a lot of videos on the same topic, and you don't know which one fits your curriculum.
Right, yeah.
So you end up watching like at least 3, 4, 5 videos to find different parts of your curriculum in different videos. And then you have to save the videos in order to go back to them if you need to revise or study it again. So this is one of the things that we're trying to solve, is that when you go online, there is so much information that isn't required for the student to know. So we're making
it's really tailor-made to the curriculum. So you would feed it in the actual curriculum that's being taught.
Yes, and then it's cut off. Now, one feature that we're trying to add, maybe in later versions, is to give the students extra data. For example, if a student is interested in a specific lesson in chemistry, they can read more about it in extra resources.
Okay.
But these resources would have to be provided by the teacher. Because if we make it open source and it just gets data from anywhere in the internet, then it defies the whole purpose of it, making tailored to each student and each school.
Yeah. I'm just curious, while you were talking, or when you mentioned about the avatar, that the student will have an avatar teaching, can you choose your own avatar? Because sometimes, as a student, you warm to some personalities, or you warm to, either male or female, or you're more receptive depending on who it is, whether it's an old person or a young person. Does that
want to customize it?
Is it possible?
Right now, No, because it's extremely expensive.
Okay.
But there is a guy that we talked to. His company provides avatars, and they provide the whole user interface in order to customize the avatars.
Yeah.
So hopefully in future versions we do plan on including it too, because you have to target the whole personalized aspect or idea from all sides. So not just through the personalization of what the avatar says, but through the personalization of the avatar itself, because then it makes each avatar special to each student. Like, this is my avatar. It's it's extremely effective in personalization. It's why we see many games do the whole personalization aspect. Like, back when I used to play on the internet, I used to play Club Penguin, and I used to customize my penguin. I don't think
Club Ping.
Yes,
Oh.
Club Penguin. I think it closed down 5-10 years ago.
No, really?
But the thing is, that's why most games allow you to customize your avatar, because it makes things more personal for the user, thus making the user spend more time playing that game, or in our case, studying, hopefully.
Yeah, so going back to that, how do you get the student to be more keen on using your platform and wanting to use it, rather than go, can't be bothered, I just wing it until the exams, then I'll put in that extra work, maybe I've got this as a resource that I can use just before the exams?
So as I said, there are a certain number of students that are going to use it because they want to use it, because they want to learn, right? And then the other part, they need to be pushed to use it. One thing that I don't know if it's going to be effective or not, it's that students tend to like belonging in a community, like to belong in discussions. So once they start seeing the majority of their peers using it, they would like to use it out of curiosity. Like, I want to be included in that discussion, like, So hopefully that would make them try using it. And with the whole personalized interaction, hopefully we can get them to keep using it. Because what we're trying to do is that it explains subjects in a more friendly way. Because when you're a student and a teacher, there is still that barrier. Like, he's a teacher, he's not someone that I can talk openly to or ask about anything. So what we're trying to do is create more like an educational companion that allows students to learn on their own pace, learn how they want, in a way that's being controlled to give better educational outcomes to the students.
So would it be, I've just come across Pi, and I've just been playing around with Pi, how you interact with this AI Pi. Will it be something like that, where it will be encouraging, it will say the right things, even if you get it wrong, it will encourage you to try again, or look at the problem in a different way?
I haven't used Pi, so I don't know exactly what is it, but generally, yes. So what we're trying to do is encourage students to be more comfortable with studying and more comfortable with making mistakes, because growing up with the systems that we have and the systems that are still being used to this day in schools is that students are judged based on the exams or quizzes. Now, a quiz puts pressure on a student because you have to study. If you don't get a good mark, the teacher might say something, your parents might know about your grades. If you don't do well in school, this and that happens, right? So with our platform, the multiple choice questions at the end of each lesson are for the student to know if he understood or not. And then afterwards, the student can always repeat the same lesson, and ask as many questions as they want. Because some students tend to not ask questions during classroom because they don't want to be judged by their classmates. Like, he asked a stupid question, and then they start making fun of each other. Or they don't want to ask the same question more than once because they don't want the teacher to start getting angry or make fun of them in front of everyone else. But with this, they can ask as many questions as they want. The avatar can reteach them the same lesson over and over and over again until they get the core subject or the core messages of each lesson.
Again, a much better system than the old system. I'm just curious, what have you learned from your initial idea and being on this journey? Just think back to when you first started and the vision that you had about this new way of doing the education. Did you think it was going to be easier or harder than what you've actually experienced?
So we actually thought it was going to be much, much harder. But then technology develops really fast. So one thing that we're struggling with is the talking avatar, the whole lip sync thing, right? So we were trying to use open source APIs, but they didn't work. And then we went into something that's paid, which is extremely costly. And then last week, Microsoft announced that they have a talking avatar as well.
Oh, really?
But it's still in the preview stages. But imagine where we were like a couple months ago and where we are now. So when we started, we did think it was going to be much harder to do. But then with time and how things develop, it gets easier. Regarding the whole vision, so we started with something kind of different. So we started with just a talking avatar for students. But then moving forwards, we integrated teachers, we integrated the educational institutions. So it started getting more inclusive to everyone in the educational landscape. Our aim in the end is to be the go-to platform when it comes to educational platforms. So we aim to include learning management systems, teaching, the data analytics, to include everything. And I think it is doable. However, it needs time and effort in order to get to the end product, to what we have in mind. But starting, we did think it was much harder, but then it's going well so far.
Good. Another question is, how do you find people that can, are they called programmers these days? What are they who deal with AI? What is the term of the person?
I think they call them AI specialists.
Oh, they're AI specialists. So they've risen above the...
Yeah, right now they're kind of extremely wanted. So that's why they write, I'm an AI specialist, because they get paid more than other developers because it's a new niche, something new.
But this is it. They must be self-taught then, because
yes,
there can't be any training courses that could keep up with the rate of development that's happening in AI.
There isn't. That's the thing. They're self-taught. And because they're self-taught, you have no way of knowing if they're actually an AI specialist or if they're...
Well, this is it. How do you know? Where do you find them? What platform do you find these AI specialists?
So we found the dev team that works with us on Fiverr. But the thing is, we had to go through a lot of people who claim to be AI specialists and AI developers.
Oh, what's that like? I'm just curious. How do you figure out who's good and who's a con and who isn't?
So usually you can know if someone is a con or no, whether they agree to do whatever you want without asking for a proper 1 hour or 2 hour meeting in order to actually understand what you're trying to do. If they send you like an offer letter within 30 minutes, then most probably a con.
That's a warning sign.
If they give you an extremely low price point, then they're definitely a con. Other than that, I think you just have to be lucky.
Because did the ones that you chose, did they even have a portfolio to kind of say, hey, look, I did this or I did that?
They did have a portfolio, and I remember on our first meeting with them, he showed me 2 other projects that he was working on that use AI. So I felt like he knew what he was doing because I don't have technical background. And as you said, they're all self-taught people when it comes to AI. So he did show me some of the projects that he was working on. So that gave him more credibility rather than people who sent me an offer without even knowing what is it that I was trying to do.
Yeah.
But mainly, you look for them on freelance websites. And the thing is, it's extremely time consuming because you have to text, like we texted around 20 to 30 people and we had to talk to every one of them.
Yeah.
And then you have to re-explain. So we kept explaining the idea to a lot of people, and then some sent us extremely low offers, some sent us extremely high offers. So it is kind of time consuming, but I think with time, they will become more available. But then the more people who become AI specialists, the harder it would be to find someone who's good.
Absolutely.
Right now, there are 3 people who are actual AI specialists that I know of. I'm pretty sure there are much more, but these are the 3 people that I met and I talked to. All 3 of them do not accept new projects because they're already busy with the projects that they do, and they have other projects that they work on once they finish their current projects.
Well, I'm just curious, when you were looking for these AI specialists, can you remember the common theme in regards to what qualifications had they had and now become a AI specialist? Was it into programming or something completely different where they went, actually, I'm going to try this?
I would love to answer your question, but that's not my part. It was
that could have been secret. That could have been for everyone to go, I am that. I can do that.
But my co-founder, he looked into each and every one of them. He looked into their experience, their portfolio, their certifications. There are currently some AI certifications, I think, but they're on websites like Coursera and such things. They're not like a full-on degree of AI specialization. But my friend did the background check on potential development.
Yeah, because with these freelance websites, a lot of the time it's money up front. Is it?
Yes.
Yeah. So
some of them do require money up front, which is a big red flag when you're working with freelancers.
Yeah.
Right? I would understand paying something up front, but not the full amount. And it should be something extremely low.
Yeah.
So the guy that we were working with, which was a green flag to me, is that after 3 meetings, he sent me the offer letter and the whole document regarding every single detail that we talked about, the features, the user journey, the implementations, the time frame, the timeline, everything.
Yeah.
And with each feature and timeline, he wrote, so for example, once I finish the front end or the dashboard, the UI UX, this would cost you, for example, $500 USD or $1,000 USD.
Mm-hmm.
So he has a plan for the payment as well, so which was a green flag when it comes to working with freelancers.
Yeah.
Because a lot of them asked for money up front. And then, so usually the good ones, they don't ask for money up front because they know that they're delivering and they won't give you anything of value until you pay, but they will show you how they're working, what they're doing. They will keep you updated and they will keep you in the loop. So you're with them every step of the way, even though I don't understand what they're doing, but I'm there. They tell me what's going on, which stage they're at. We finished this one. We're having issues with this part. We're going to try to solve it using 1 or 2 or 3. So usually that's why my co-founder is with me in these meetings.
Okay.
He understands more about
He's more on the technical side. I'm just curious. Is it like a website when you're doing this platform? Like my only experiences with websites, when I had a web developer, they're literally developing the website on their own platform, and then they hand it over to you. They hand all the details over to you. Is that the same with AI, or are you working on a kind of a mutual platform that you can go into and they can go into? How does it work?
So here's what I know. So we have the front end and the back end. The front end is what the users see. It's the web app. So when they go to Google, they write www.turbowi.net. They go into the landing page.
Yeah.
And then once they click on sign in, they're transferred to the web app. So the web app is being hosted on Microsoft Azure because we need the cloud services of Microsoft in order for it to run.
Right. And you've all got access. You can all...
Yes.
Okay.
So we have a super admin access. So we have access to every single school. I have the Microsoft Azure accounts and the Google G Suite accounts in which we bought the domain and all of these things. So the reason we're using Microsoft Azure is because they already have their own OpenAI studio, which is part of Microsoft Azure. So it makes the whole integration part easier.
Right.
So you have different APIs that do the work. So we have the text-to-speech API. We have the speech-to-text API.
And sorry to interrupt. Those APIs, do you pay for those different...
Yes, you pay for each and every single one of them, which is why you need another developer who's proficient in software architecture.
Right.
Or if you're working on Microsoft Azure, you need an Azure specialist. So there's a lot of specialists in your team. That's, on the long run, that starts
All right.
costing you a lot.
Absolutely. Okay. I just want to go to that light bulb moment where you came up with this initial idea. Where did the idea come from? And did you have the right tools to start implementing that idea?
So both my co-founder and I, when we came here, it was a transitionary period. So we were going back out of Doha. Meanwhile, we were sitting together and we were like, while we were waiting for some things to finalize regarding moving out, let's try to do something.
Well, you were moving out of Doha?
Yes,
Oh.
we were both moving out. I was moving to Canada, he was moving to the US.
Oh, okay.
I was waiting for my visa, he was waiting for his visa. So we thought, while we were waiting, why not do something useful? Why not learn something new?
And I'm just curious, why were you moving out? What was...
I'm going there to get a postgraduate degree in business management, and he was going there to get a master's in information system technologies or something like that, something technical.
Okay.
So meanwhile, we decided to do something while we were waiting. We started working on it. So the thing is, every couple of years, every decade, something new comes up, and it ends up having a really huge market share. So a couple of years ago, it was cryptocurrency, and then it kind of died down. I don't know what happened to cryptocurrency, but
The thing is, I think certain ones are still going.
yes, the big ones like
Yeah.
Bitcoin, Ethereum, and some of
Yes,
but
yeah.
generally the whole
There's a whole mad rush
died
out
down.
there. Yeah.
So the new thing is AI. So we decided to learn more about it. He decided to learn more about
Oh, he decided.
Yeah.
Okay.
So he started going deeper into it. He took a couple courses and certifications from someone, I think his name is Mimi Lavi. I don't think you know him. I don't know him either, but he's someone extremely known in the technical area.
Okay.
Right? He took a couple courses on AI on Microsoft Azure, and then we sat down and he was like, listen, we can do this and that. So I was like, okay, you know what? Let's start working on it. You take care of the technical side, I'll take care of the business side.
So this and that was the educational.
The educational platform,
Okay.
or a talking avatar back
Yeah.
then it was.
And you were thinking, okay, I've got nothing to do. Why not? All right.
Exactly.
It may work. It may not.
If it does, it's good. If it doesn't, it's good either way. At least I would have learned something.
Yeah.
So we start working on it. It started as a talking avatar that explains things.
So is he doing it in his time? He's doing it at the moment. You're not bringing anyone else on board. It's just you two.
No, so it's just us, and
Yeah.
then we have the dev team. They're being outsourced for the moment because we can't afford to hire anyone in-house.
But how did you find? Why? You got the idea,
Okay,
and then what?
we got the idea.
You two just start running by yourselves? You're just playing around, or what?
Yes, so we started running around. He started running around on the technical side,
Yeah.
trying to see if it's doable or not. He started exploring Microsoft Azure, whether they have all the APIs, whether we can do it or not, how much would it cost, all of these things. And then I was running around in the business side, doing a market analysis, trying to see if it's something that's needed. I did the market research, see if there's any future for AI in education, and then I came across a study that said by 2024, 47% of educational platforms will have AI features in them. So it's kind of, it's inevitable.
Yeah, so I put this to you. Okay, you're going to go down this road, but you know that there's a lot of other people that are probably going down that road at the same time. So but that still made you comfortable to go, no, come on, let's do it.
So once we kind of finalized the idea, we heard about Idea Camp 7, which is an initiative by DIC, Digital Incubation Center, which is an initiative by the Ministry of Communication and Information Technology. So we decided to participate.
And this is Idea Camp 7 is where you just turn up and you pitch your idea. What do you have to do a bit
They
more?
put you through a couple sessions of training, mentorship. They tell you more about business, about startups. How do you validate an idea? How do you do market research? How do you do this and that when it comes to startups and business? So we went through the sessions, we did the mentoring, and then we pitched.
Is this all over just a weekend or a week? Or
No, I think it was over a month and a half.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was kind of extensive because the session...
Well, how did they decide to choose you to go through that anyway, or do you have to pay for that?
No, so first of all, you apply,
Yeah.
and then they do the filtration. They choose...
So they
Yes.
you already have to pitch in your own little way.
Yes, you have to... But the thing is, because it's an idea camp, you don't need an MVP, you don't need the product. You just need a good, solid idea.
Yeah.
And then they put you through the training sessions, and after the training sessions, there is 1 day for mentoring. So you sit down with one technical mentor and one business mentor. They look over your pitch deck. They tell you what you could do better, what things you're doing wrong. And through each stage, they do more filtration for the startups that are participating, so they narrow them down.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh,
and
so
then
if you're not keeping up to step and they feel, no, that's going to fizzle out.
not putting in the work,
So, and you said this was for a month?
around a month and a half, I think.
Well, but you two aren't working anyway, so this is quite good for you guys.
Yeah, it was extremely insightful, and we did learn a lot because I did take a couple courses on business back when I was at uni, but then
just remind.
I didn't take these things.
Actually, you haven't told us what you were studying at university to make you, good in business for this new.
So I studied biomedical engineering.
Of course you did.
But then I've always wanted to study business, but my father was against it, so I stuck with biomedical.
Okay, so
graduated, and then
you appeased your father. You said, "Look, Dad, okay, I'll do what you want." And you've told me before he's a doctor, yes?
Yeah.
And your brother's a doctor. Brother-in-law
is a doctor of pharmacy.
Yeah, exactly. So you had to do something within.
Yeah, he didn't have restrictions when it comes to what you study at uni, other than you have to study something that would actually help you make money.
Okay.
So,
but you had asked if you could do business, but he wasn't happy with it.
I asked to do business, but I also asked to, I wanted to go to culinary school. He also said no. So these things, in the way he viewed things, he was against them. He's like, okay, you might be able to make money in business, but then you would be stuck to a job, to a desk job. And there are other off-limit subjects or courses like art, music, and these things. These were obviously off-limits. So to him, you just had to get a good degree, something that makes it easy for you to get a job.
While you were talking, I'm just curious. What growing up and in school, what were you interested? What rocked your boat? What kind of
Mostly cooking. I used to cook a lot with my mom.
Okay, so did that ever come up that you would like to be a chef?
It did, and I did ask him, can I go to culinary school? And he was like, he didn't even talk back then. He was like,
He was just lost for words.
just get out. You're not going into culinary school. Even though statistically, some chefs make more money than doctors. If you get into one of the higher end Michelin star restaurants and these things, you tend to make a lot of money. But then to him, it was a big no. You're not going into culinary school. So anyways, this is why I finished my biomedical engineering degree, and this is why I was going to get a postgraduate certificate in global business management.
Okay,
because I've always...
So you got a thumbs up from your dad, you got your qualification.
Yeah. And then he was like, do whatever you want. I did my part in raising you. I put you through college. Do whatever you want.
Yeah, and that's what I said to you before. That's what I went through, is that, get your education, get the certificate, and then you can do whatever you want. You've always got that to fall back on.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
This was his main point, is that if you want to try new things, sure, go ahead, try new things, but you need something to fall back on if things don't work out. So you're not going to be able, you're not going to become homeless if things don't work out.
No.
You can fall back on your degree, work in it, even if it's a low-paying job, but it will put food on your table.
Wise man.
Yeah, he is. He keeps. He rarely talks, but then
I think that's that generation. I think, like, my father was very quiet, kept everything inside.
Exactly.
Wouldn't say many words.
And even when he does, it's short sentences.
Absolutely.
That make you think, what part am I not getting?
Yeah.
But I think the lives that they lived is that they had to work really hard. So my father started working back when he was 11, and he started working as a bricklayer, and then to support himself and his siblings. And then he, throughout his life and throughout his career, he saw a lot of disturbing things, especially working in the medical field. So yeah, I think it's understandable. Yeah, I'm pretty sure your father had a pretty hard-working job growing up, and he started working a little bit early. Yeah, so it's kind of understandable why they're kind of quiet, because to them, when they go back home, it's something peaceful. They want to sit in quiet. They want peace. They don't want someone to argue with, like at work. They just want to sit down and relax.
Absolutely.
So yeah. Okay, yeah, we were talking about
I'm glad you've...
No, I'm keeping track. So he started running with the technical end, I ran with the business end. We did the idea camp, we did the...
So how many
sessions?
At the end of the month and a half, how many got through to the... Is it like a final presentation? Or
yeah, I think they started with 150.
Oh, wow.
Back in Idea Camp 7. And then for the mentoring, they were filtered down to 100. And after the mentoring, they were filtered down to 50. Yeah. And then there's a rehearsal. After the rehearsal, they were filtered down to 35, I think.
Oh, wow. They still get rid of...
Yes.
During the rehearsal.
And then... I think 35 startups got into the final pitching day, and they had to pitch in front of judges.
Yeah. And how did that go?
I think it went pretty well. I was extremely nervous, but then one of the judges was so impressed by the pitch that we were doing, is he took his phone out and he started taking pictures of the pitch.
No, really?
Yeah, so we tried to do it in a different way. We didn't do a PowerPoint, we did a talking avatar. So we did the whole interaction between me and the avatar.
Oh, wow.
So it was a video, and we had to time every single line. I spent around almost a week and a half repeating my lines.
Wow.
By the time we get to the pitch, I knew when to take a breath, when to stop, and how many seconds I have to wait before I say something.
Wow.
So, yeah. So it was kind of interactive.
So it looked very interactive. It didn't...
Yes, which is why they liked it. And one of the judges started taking a video and started taking pictures of the talking avatar. And then we got the funding from the DIC, which is non-equity funding.
So you came first, didn't you?
Yes, we got the
You
first
didn't
place.
say that. You know. So look, wow, first place. Well
Yeah,
done.
we got the first place and we got the funding, which allowed us to start pursuing the MVP.
So how does that funding come? Do they give you one of these big massive checks and say,
They did give me one of the big
Oh,
massive
right.
checks, and then on my way out, because the thing is, this was the first big massive check that I ever hold, right?
what do you do with one
So
of
on
those
my
big-
way out, I didn't know how these things work.
Yeah.
So I was asking one of the organizers, like, do you guys take this check back or do I take it? What do I do with it?
Yeah.
He was like, just put it in your room and then we'll contact you next week regarding the next steps.
Oh, so you have to look after it. That's it. You just
Yeah, that's it.
Have you still got it? Do you?
Yeah, it's still in my room, but it's tucked away behind the wardrobe. It's not like
Yeah. That
that's
should
in
be.
the middle of my room.
Is it about that big? Is it?
It's like, I think it was this big.
Yeah. Why don't they
a
give?
really
Why don't they
big
give
check.
you something like this that you can actually frame and put it up on your wall rather than something huge that's going to take up the whole wall?
I think you can still frame it, but it's gonna take the whole wall, and then it becomes aesthetically unappealing.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So the money comes in milestones. You first submit the business plan, and you get, I think it was 40%, and then you submit the MVP. You get another 35% or 30%, and then you get the last payment once you launch your product. So they do a whole party thing at the DIC where you launch your product.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, they take photos, videos, they use it for social media and all of this. So they
have
make
you-
a whole buzz about
Have you gone through the whole 3 steps?
We finished the business plan,
Right.
and the money that we got allowed us to do the MVP
Yeah.
because we didn't have the capital to do it. We're submitting the MVP actually tomorrow. I was there this morning to schedule a meeting for tomorrow to submit the MVP. And the final
MVP. What does that stand for?
product, minimum viable product. So
Right.
it's something with extremely minimal features that works and still has bugs, but it's something that you use as a proof of concept to talk to people and show them, like, this is what I have in mind. This
Yeah.
is something that you can interact with.
Nice.
Because one of the struggles that we had is that when talking to people, they didn't quite understand what we're trying to do. And I don't blame them, because back then the ideas were scattered in my mind. I couldn't give them a proper 2 sentences or 1 sentence. So they always ask, do you have something to show me?
Yeah.
Then I would be like, no, it's just an idea that I have. I can't show you anything.
Yeah.
So yeah, and this is where we're at. We have the MVP.
And I'm just curious, when you've got a team that you're working with, how do you arrange payment? Is it on the basis of these stages that they will get paid when you receive? They know that you are a startup, you're going through an incubation process, that you will get paid at certain milestones. How does it work?
So one of the reasons why I love the developer that we're working with is he's in charge of the team. So I talk directly with him.
Mm.
So once he finishes something, he sends me the payment. But lately, because he was having issues with the talking avatar, and Ibrahim, my co-founder, he gave him the solution. He didn't send me a payment request for the talking avatar part. So he just went on to the next part. I'm pretty sure down the line, we're going to have some back and forth talks about the whole payment.
Yeah.
But he's trying to go with another approach. If he does it, then he sends me the payment. But generally, he's very easygoing when it comes to payments. For example, before we received the funds, he asked for a payment, and I didn't have the money for it. I was like, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't have the money. Can it wait? He was like, sure, it's no problem. Whenever you get the funds, just pay this invoice.
Nice. Yeah.
So he's pretty easygoing when it comes to money, and sometimes he pays for services from his own money and then bills me the invoices for later.
So he must have worked with the startup
He's a
organization.
professional. Yeah.
So he knows.
Yeah. He knows how things go. He's easygoing when it comes to money, especially.
And that's handy when you're in a startup.
Yeah, it gets extremely messy when you're in a startup.
Absolutely.
You have to make sure you don't run out of funds.
Yeah. We're coming to the end, so I've got to kind of tie it up now. But looking back over everything, what's the biggest lesson you've learned so far? Because you're only 24, so you know.
You're gonna keep bringing that.
But as I said before, you're an old soul, so you know. But yeah, for that 24-year-old, what lessons have you learned?
The biggest lesson is, I think it would be, you have to go into every single conversation with everyone with an open mind. You have to. The thing is, at some point, you start hearing the same things over and over and over again. But even with that, you have to go into each conversation with an open mind, being optimistic that there is something that you will learn out of this conversation or out of this session or out of this training, right? So I think it's to just keep an open mind and take in as much as I can and then analyze it and see if it fits what I'm trying to do or not. But generally it's to listen more.
Nice.
When it comes to business and the whole startup thing.
And where do you see this going? Where do you see yourself in 5 years' time? What's the vision?
So we've both, my co-founder and I, we've both been attending a lot of workshops and events lately, and they all say the same things. We need a personalized platform. Personalization makes students achieve more when it comes to education. So we're trying to do what they're asking for. So hopefully in 5 years, we plan on being the go-to platform for educational institutions, not just in Qatar, but hopefully in the GCC and MENA region. And then maybe we can scale more and go into Europe and North America and South America. But within 5 years, I think it's achievable to be the go-to platform, at least in Qatar. We'll see about the GCC and the MENA region.
Superb. Well, I really appreciate you coming on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Hey, a pleasure.
It's always a pleasure talking with you.
Absolutely. And I look forward to the invitation for the party, because now that you've mentioned the
Definitely.
I want to leave it for
have an after party.
Absolutely. Final product. So all the best, Mo.
Thank you for having me.
No, I wish you all the best. And you have to come on the show again.
Definitely.
To tell us.
Once I have more updates regarding life, once I have some new experiences, I'll definitely come back. It's always a pleasure talking with you.
Absolutely. Yeah. Same here. Take care. Thank you, guys. Thank you for watching. And we'll catch up with you next week. Next week. All the best. Take care. Bye-bye. Hey, amazing people. This concludes our journey on the Head Guide podcast, your ultimate fusion of Middle East vibes and success in both business and life. I'm Stefan Lindberg-Jones, your ever-enthusiastic guide through all things awesome. The Head Guide podcast is your exclusive pass to CEO insights, cultural adventures, and the genuine lowdown on life in the Middle East. If you've enjoyed the ride, hit that subscribe button for the most fantastic ongoing adventure. Stay tuned for more awesomeness, more insights, and more success coming your way. Let's roll into the future of the Middle East journey together.